All right. My name is Algenon Cash, and you're locked in live. Got a great conversation for you this afternoon. It's been a little while since I did a live segment. I do my full blown shows, so I would encourage you to go check out the podcast, Locked In with Algenon Cash on Apple, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you like to download your favorite podcast. It's available if you have not already done so. Make sure you also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're getting great traffic on the channel there now. And then make sure you're tuning in to WTOB every weekend. I'm there on Sunday morning talking to you about politics and business every Sunday morning. So make sure you support us over there as well. Today, I've got my good friend. He's sort of a regular now, U.S. Congressman Ted Budd. He's back with us. Ted, you had a huge announcement yesterday, man. Congratulations. You've decided to run for a U.S. Senator here in North Carolina.
Absolutely, Algenon. Hey, great to be with you. This journey kind of started with you and me in the same room over at Wake Forest. I think that was like 9 years ago. Just sort of talking politics and thinking through things and how you've got a heart for service. I do as well, and just sort of figuring out how that was going to play out. So here we are. I've been in Congress since 2016, so not that long, and made a lot of prayers, a lot of thoughts, a lot of considerations, talking with family, making sure we were good to go, and made the announcement yesterday.
Well, again, congratulations, and I say that as a friend, and as you said, we did start this many years ago. I still remember some dinners at Village Tavern. Ted, it's going to sound crazy. I don't know if I've actually been back to Village Tavern, at least that specific location, since we used to go back when we were doing the Institute for the Public Trust.
I think I've got a gift certificate here. I can, I think it's in the other room, but I've got a $50 gift certificate if that would entice you to go to dinner with me or whatever.
It certainly would, man. You decided to jump into the race. You and I, we have a mutual friend, and you have a colleague, Congressman Mark Walker, who decided to run this past December. Not too long ago, Governor Pat McCrory just decided that he wanted to announce his bid as well. What motivated you to go ahead and get in the race? Did you just feel like there was still like a lane that wasn't being covered with the other two candidates that have already announced? Or
yeah, there is a lane. I had conversations with Mark Robinson, who was considering, conversations with Laura Trump, who was considering, but I wanted to make sure, with their absence, I think there's a great lane. They need somebody that has a small business background, who's been a risk taker like yourself, a job creator, an entrepreneur, who knows the pain of paying those quarterly taxes, who knows what it's like to squeeze to make payroll and be grateful that you can, and to be the last in line to take home a paycheck. So I'm honored to grown up here on a family farm in Davie County, have that agricultural background, but also do janitorial work in Winston-Salem and landscaping in a family business, and then have my own business later on, as an employer. So I think I'm the only one that has that sort of background, and it's a real honor to be able to step up and tell folks about my candidacy and ask for their support.
Like in politics, this always happens. You got your naysayers, and we've already started seeing some polling data that's coming out that's showing Governor McCrory with quite a large lead over you and Congressman Walker. I know I've seen some polls that also include Laura Trump in there. People are saying this is sort of a long shot for you. I recall people saying 2016 was a long shot for you as well. What would you say to the naysayers this afternoon?
You're a risk taker. I'm a risk taker, but they're always calculated. This is a calculated decision. This is a long race. So I think people love to, write and talk about these things. But remember, we're a year away, more than a year away. We've got a primary. It's either going to be in March of 2022, so next year, or it's going to be in May, depending on if they move it because of the late census data that's coming in. And then, we got a year and a half until the general election in November of 2022. Look, I've run a marathon. I've done the Iron 70.3. Those are long endurance, grinding races, in 100-degree heat. So I get it, and I'm not easily swayed, but I do have endurance, and I will plot ahead.
Well, and I'll add just from a personal touch, and just like I told people back in 16, I went and bet against this guy. He's a hardworking guy. I know you're going to get out. You're going to give everybody a run for their money. We'll probably see you all over North Carolina, shaking hands and kissing babies and doing all the right things.
Can you do that in the COVID world anymore? I don't know.
I think you will. I know you. I know how you like to engage, and I think you're going to be crisscrossing North Carolina. And
I think there's a form you have to fill out before you shake hands or kiss babies anymore. So,
I wouldn't be surprised if Fauci introduces that here soon. Going back to the race, you've got Governor McCrory in that race. I would argue that McCrory is more of a moderate. I don't say that to be demeaning, but just being accurate. I would certainly categorize you and our mutual friend, Congressman Walker, certainly as much more stronger conservatives. Some may argue that you and Walker may split the conservative vote within the party and create a lane for McCrory to get the nomination. What do you think about that?
Well, if you want a full spectrum conservative that understands agriculture, grew up on that family farm I mentioned right here, still here today in Davie County, but also gets urban environments and gets business, whether it's rural or urban, understands the diversity of this state, all the types of businesses and terrain and interest across the state. I think I'm the candidate for that. Much respect for the other candidates in the race. Again, they're all friends. Now, we as things move towards the primary, there'll be some tension. But at the end of the day, after the primary, we all want to support each other. This is not about me, and I hope those other candidates think that it's not about them. This is about, let's retain this seat and I don't even, of course I'm a Republican, but let's get beyond that. Let's go issue by issue. Let's talk about how we value life, how we value individual choice. If somebody earns money, do they have the right to keep that money and spend it as they wish? Those are all things that I believe. And we got to have somebody that believes in a conservative way that will lead our state and ultimately our nation to prosperity. Look, we spend a lot of time talking about how great this country is, but let's not undermine and let's not forget the things, one, that we need to improve on, and the other things that made us great. It's like an athlete talking about how great he is, but never working out or never maintaining those disciplines. We have to maintain the disciplines that made us great as a nation. And that's great families. That's being great neighbors, involved in our communities, caring for one another, not being so hostile. I think, look, you need the strong fighter, but also when people look me in the eye and I look them back in the eye, they know that I really care for them, regardless of their background. And so I think I'm that candidate. People are going to have to decide for themselves, but I'm really just very blessed to be able to have this opportunity.
Well, Congressman, you said something, and I want to draw attention to it from our audience because I think it's the most profound statement you made in that commentary. After the primary, we all still have to come together as Republicans if we want to maintain control of the seat and maintain the balance of power in Washington, D.C. as it relates to the U.S. Senate. And so I'm glad to hear you say that no matter who wins the primary, we've got to unite and work on behalf of whoever the candidate is to get them through the general election. I heard you a moment ago say you reached out to Laura Trump. What's the likelihood we see a surprise entry from Laura Trump after the summer?
Well, she's got unique capabilities. I know she signed a Fox deal for on-air news reporting, and she'll be really great at that. She does have North Carolina roots. She went to NC State. Her family's in the Wrightsville, Wilmington area. So if she wanted to jump in, time is on her side. She could jump in late. She's got great name ID. She's very talented. So I want to maintain my deference to her. I don't want to place odds on that, but I can tell you that the sure thing is I'm in the race. I'm running to win it. I believe I will, and I'm going to earn the respect and the right to win the race. And I'm going to ask people to support me and for their vote. And I'm going to make the case over the next year why that's I think why that's the best route.
Congressman, one last question before I let you get back to work, man. I know you're campaigning, but you're still working too, up in DC on behalf of us. Shifting gears away from the campaign a little bit and just talking about what's happening in Washington, D.C. President has announced a $2.3 trillion infrastructural spending bill that he would like to get through Congress. That hasn't even made it to the floor for a vote yet, but he's also now announced another $2 trillion bill stimulus bill that he would also like to get through Congress. So we're talking about upwards of $4 trillion in additional stimulus that the president's calling for. I think we've already spent about $5 trillion as we responded to the COVID-19 pandemic. Are we on a sustainable course, Congressman? I mean, can we continue to spend money at the rate we are at the federal level?
Algenon, I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist, and I'm really good at math. I wasn't as a kid, but it's a developed skill. So, I look at 6 trillion that was talked about in the speech last night, 10 trillion in the Democrat hopper. And while that sounds great, where does it come from? It comes from you. It comes from your viewers. And look, it's not. It's destructive. They are printing money that will destroy this next generation's opportunity. When you hand somebody enhanced unemployment benefits, or you hand somebody a $1,400 stimulus check, that feels great at that moment. But what they can't see is the invisible opportunities that are being crushed. Look, you're in the hospitality and restaurant business, so you know how hard it is to get folks to come to work when there's somebody else saying, I'm going to give you the same or more just to stay home. One of the hardest, the best recovery, the best stimulus is an open economy, particularly when it comes to restaurants. Now, I'm talking about responsibility. Vaccinations, if you think that that's for you, get vaccinated, wear your mask when you think you need to, especially if you're immunocompromised. But at the same time, we need freedoms. We need restaurants open. I'm not talking North Carolina. We're starting to open, to stop the shutdown, but we need schools open. We need restaurants open, and that will lead to the best stimulus that we've ever seen. More than handing out what's free or considered to be free money, but it's the most expensive money in history because it's destroying future opportunity for small business entrepreneurs. And that's the lifeblood of our country.
Congressman, I agree with you, and I'm so appreciative and grateful that you decided to lock in with us this afternoon and give us some insight on why you decided to get in this race, and what my audience can be prepared to see as the campaign continues to unfold. I want to encourage my audience, go follow Congressman Ted Budd. He's on all your favorite social media channels. You can keep up with the campaign that way. I'm sure. Have you already gotten your campaign website up?
It's up. It's still my name, tedbudd.com. It's 1 D on Ted and 2 on Bud. And look forward to seeing you there.
Well, I encourage people to go check out your website, subscribe to whatever newsletters you have. And of course, if you feel compelled to, support Congressman Budd. If you feel compelled to support the message that you've heard here this afternoon. Congressman, thank you for being a great friend, man. Good luck on the campaign trail. And of course, you always are welcome back here to come share a message with our audience.
Let's stay in touch and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. And to my audience, again, make sure you go check us out on YouTube. Follow us online. Go check out the podcast on your favorite podcast platforms. And until next time, y'all stay locked in.